Former Hazard High basketball and football coach Cokie Cox died on Saturday at the age of 82. Cox was also the Hazard High School track coach for many years. One of his star athletes was John Hagens. When John passed away in 2016, Cokie paid tribute to him on WSGS.
Talking about John Hagens, who passed this past week, and they're having his funeral tomorrow, I think. And he was a special kid. When I started teaching school in Hazard, John was in the 8th grade, and I taught him in the 8th grade, and then we both moved on to the high school at the same time. He played football, basketball, and ran track. And we have many stories about him. One that brings back memories to me is that when he was a sophomore, I took him down to Henry Clay one cold, rainy day. And when we got there, the coach at Henry Clay said, let's just put our best runner in each event and get this track made over because we don't want to be here all day. It's so cold. And they had an old cinder track that crushed up cinders and smoothed them down to run on. And when they called for the 100-yard dash, John went down, pulled his sweats off, and warmed up, and I was standing there with him to take his sweats, and I said, I'll see you down at the finish line. And each school, there were 6 schools there, and each school put their best runner in. And John looked around and said, Coach, what's going to be outrun these boys? And I'm going to say this, my 17 years of coaching at Hazard, and I coached a lot of boys in football and basketball and especially in track. Without a doubt, John Hagens was the best athlete that I coached while I was there, by far.
Did he ever have any schools that contacted him or anything?
Oh, yeah, he had a lot of schools looking at him and inquiring. Back then, most of the inquiring that was done through the mail. You know, every day there'd be a stack of mail come into the school. So it wasn't anything for John to have a stack of mail all the time.
Did you ever hear Roscoe, some of his comments about John? What he said about his maybe quickness or?
Well, I was reading an article that they'd put on Facebook that Oscar Combs had written when he was working here at the Hazard Herald. And Oscar was interviewing Roscoe about John and said, was Jim Rose the fastest player you ever coached? And Roscoe said, no. Said John Hagens was. Yeah. Said John was much faster than Jim, and Jim was fast. Mm-hmm. You know, and Jim was a great athlete. But getting back to that, I didn't coach Jim. I wasn't here when Jim was here. So my period of time, John was the best athlete that wore a Hazard uniform.
All righty, I believe that's good, unless you can think of anything else.
Well, I'm sure there's other tales if I thought about them long enough. But.
Well, you've got the good ones, I think. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Shane.
Cokie Cox, we remember you forever. Such a part of Hazard, and Hazard will never be the same. What a legend. A great basketball player, a great football player, and a great coach and teacher and mentor. Cokie Cox. It's hard to imagine a world without Cokie Cox.